Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plug and Play's Corporate Reverse Pitch series. My name is Wade Bitaraf, and I'll be emceeing today's session. I see about 100 participants have already signed on, so really excited to have you all here. You are representing innovation across the world. You know, we have participants from either US, Europe, South America, Japan, and elsewhere. So I want to kick it off by thanking everyone, particularly some of our corporate partners that took some time to present their innovation roadmap today, and really excited to hear a little bit more about what they've done in the ecosystem, connecting startups with their business units. And as you're coming in, for all the audience, if you want to tell us a little bit about, who you are, the company you're representing, where you're from. We'll try to give you a shout either in the beginning or at the end of the session. But it's really great to have you. This is the third part or the third session of our corporate reverse pitch event. In the first two series, we had our partners across IoT and mobility practices who presented their roadmap in the manufacturing, automation, and other areas. And this is the third session. So I wanted to give a quick update on plug and play side as it relates to COVID-19 response. We have been kind of creating a number of content for our partners and startups in the past webinars, and we want to be able to connect the dots in our ecosystem and bring technology solutions to market quicker. So on the next slide, we basically cover a little bit more about our COVID-19 accelerator program, where a lot of the startups today are pivoting their solutions to address the issues that are caused by the coronavirus outbreak. So we run this accelerator program. It's again, it's meant to help the entrepreneurs who are bringing their solutions to fight the coronavirus challenges. At the end, by the way, we will share a link to all of the events that we are referring to today in this webinar, and we will be also kind of covering all of the upcoming events. You will receive an email, a follow-up email with a link to register in all of these events. Here you can see some of the upcoming ones. We will have a series of sessions around cost-saving technologies for the industries as it relates to operation, automation, and data. Every week we have these sessions where about up to 10 startups will present their solutions to the industry stakeholders that work with us. And also an event that we're hosting primarily for our oil and gas partners in our Houston office on April 30th. We have about 10 startups presenting their solutions to increase efficiency in the operations of the oil patch today. If any of you are interested, in the follow-up email that our team will send you, you can go ahead and click on it and register. So a little bit about the agenda of today. Again, we have 6 of our partners who are going to present their innovation roadmap, a little bit about their company, about 7 to 8 minutes each. That will be followed with a 2 to 3 minute Q&A. And obviously you can submit your questions as you see the presentations here in the Q&A box, and our teams will take your questions and we will bring it to our corporate partners during the Q&A side. So don't use the chat box, as our team mentions here. Use the Q&A feature, and any questions that we don't get to answer, we'll try to respond throughout the event in the box or get back to you afterwards and connect you with our partners. Our partners actually share their contact information in the slide, so you can reach out to them directly, or you can ask us to facilitate introductions if you have a technology that can address their needs and challenges. Okay, so without further ado, we'll get to the partners presentations part. Let's kick things off with the first presentation by Luck from Thai Oil.
Hi everyone, this is Luck Saraya, Managing Director of Top Ventures, corporate venture capital arm of Thai Oil. So we are a founding and co-partner of the Plug and Play office in Thailand. And we would like to thank you, Plug and Play, for this wonderful opportunity to talk with everyone. So today I'm going to introduce everyone to the company, to our fund, what can we offer, and also what we are looking for. So after we get to know each other better, I really hope that we can start working together. So let's begin. Let us start off with Thai Oil Company first. Thai Oil is a refinery and petrochemical flagship of Thailand. We are established in 1961, so we are almost 60 years old already. We are headquartered here in Bangkok, but our operations are spread across throughout Southeast Asia, especially in Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Myanmar. The company is listed in the Stock Exchange of Thailand under the name TOP, hence the company name, with around $2.5 billion market cap. Our annual revenue is around $11 billion, and we are part of PTT Group, which is a national oil company of Thailand. So our business units, we do mainly 5 things. The first one is the oil refinery, petrochemical, and lube base. This one is the major source of income to our company right now. Second one is the solvent and chemicals, where we produce and distribute chemicals and solvent throughout Southeast Asia. We have the power generations, where we produce power to supply to our to other core business and sell some excess to the grid. We have renewables, where we produce ethanol from cassava mainly. The last one is the logistics, where we invest partly into oil pipeline and the marine vessel. So those are the key business of Thai Oil Group. Looking at Top Ventures, as I said, we are the corporate venture capital arm of the company. Our objective is quite clear. We're here to search for the business to add to the portfolio of the group. But also we want to create a mutual benefits between startup and the company. We are established in 2019 with a dedicated governance and operation structure. Our key strength, because we are part of Thai Oil Group, we can leverage the 60 years of process and operation experience in refinery and petrochemical. We also have access to customers in Southeast Asia, and also we have an R&D and sandbox environment where we open up for a collaboration with startups. So we are looking at 3 verticals. The first one is in industrial technology, where we look into process technology, operation technology. This is the part where we can enhance the industrial, our core business. The second one is the sustainability technology. So we are talking about specialty chemicals, waste treatment, circular economy. This is more like an extension to our core business. The last one is what we call hydrocarbon disruption. So this is something that is like a hedge to our core business. We're talking about new energy like energy storage, mobility, advanced material. So this is like a disruption. So enhance, extend, and disrupt. These are the 3 verticals. So with the company under those 3 verticals, we have 2 key activities. The first one, which is something that we really put effort into at the time, is the venture partnership. We do product testing, proof of concept, joint development, and also introduction to customer channel to startups. The second one is more like a conventional VC, so we do venture investment. We invest and manage the portfolio. About venture partnership, we want to leverage our knowledge, assets, and network to deliver value to startups. We see it as 2 parts. The first one is more like a technical and product partnership. Something I can highlight on is the advanced carbon material. This startup is from Singapore, and it was introduced by Plug and Play We're working with them on oil and gas specific case under the instrument engineer. Second one I want to highlight is the AI and machine learning for operation. The startup is from Israel. We work with them on the supply chain optimization project. The second one is the commercial partnership, where we work with startup, introducing them to potential customer. We are working with a biopesticide startup from the UK and a specialty coating from US in order to become the potential distributor here in Southeast Asia. On the investment side, we have a fund of $30 million budget. We are looking into startup under 3 verticals, as I've previously mentioned. The startup that we are looking to are seed and early stage startup. So at least they should have like a prototype or potential business model so we can do the diligence and put the money in. Also, it would be a plus if the startup have a potential to collaborate with us in the venture partnership program, because that's the way we can deliver the value to the startup. On the investment, we already invest in other VCs indirectly. So one is the US VC, where we invest into the applied science and engineering fund, and the Israel VC, where we invest into the industrial technology fund. On the startup portfolio, we haven't invested into any startup yet, but as I said, we have been working with a lot of startups in the venture partnership program, and hopefully those startups will become one of our portfolio. We're also looking for a new startup to add into that portfolio. So with that, I'll leave you with the team. That's me in the middle. Our contact is at the bottom. And I believe that with our extensive experience in oil and gas business, our network throughout Southeast Asia, and also our open environment mindset, we would love to work with any startup that would like to work on a impactful business with us. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Lot, for that presentation. It was really helpful for me to understand, and the highlights that you brought up, you know, the carbon engineering company in Singapore, the Israeli company using AI for your supply chain optimization, and the UK biopesticide. So again, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and see what questions we've gotten so far, and then I'll try and go from the top down. And for the audience, we've got 3 of your questions coming in. I'm going to start with the first question here that you mentioned you're established in 2019. So someone's asking what type of startups you anticipate to invest in the next 6 months.
Sure. So with that questions, I think our focus right now would mainly on the first bucket of the vertical that we mentioned. It's the industrial manufacturing technology bucket. So mainly it's because we are looking for something that can have a quick win potential for both our side and the startup as well. So that's why we are really focused on that area first. But that said, I think we have a good coverage with other areas as well. But based on the deal flows that we see right now, that would be the things that we are looking for.
Got it. Thank you. So we have Nitin Gupta asking, in your enhanced category, have teams already collected data for AI machine learning projects for training? And the follow-up question is computer vision in scope here?
Sure. So actually we have been looking into we have a foundation of the digital project, digitalization project as a potential to be for a startup to build their applications or their products over the pools that we have. I can't say for certain that it's going to be 100% ready to be implemented right away, but that's something that we are working on. And right now we have some progress already, and we've been discussing with some AI machine learning startup. But that is for a specific case. So I guess that would depend on which kind of application that we are looking into, and if it's already there, then it will be easy for us to go ahead with that. But if not, then that's something that we might have to explore with the startup as well.
Got it. Thank you, Lak. The questions keep coming in. The numbers is increasing. So just for the attendees, you can actually rank the startups by liking the questions that you see in Q&A box, so we can kind of bring up the most relevant questions based on your voting here, given that we have limited time. We have a question that's getting the highest rank, which is relating to the stage of the companies. And someone's asking, as it relates to corporate VCs, most of them tend to invest in later stage startups. So do you think there are any unique challenges for top ventures to invest in early stage companies?
Sure. I guess that depends on the risk appetite that we have, right? So what we have here is the set of budget that we've been discussing, the concept with our, actually up to the board of the director level, that is going to be invested into this kind of startups. And when we build out the portfolio thesis for us, we tend to see that the risk profile that's for the seed stage and early stage are something different from the later stage. So I guess we kind of see that it's a unique challenge in terms of the mindset on our side. But that said, I think it's with a good partners, and I guess we learn a lot from working with a lot of startups, and we see around the world. So I guess that's something that we can learn from, and hopefully can get us through the challenges that we are facing right now.
Yeah, no, thanks. Actually, thank you for bringing that up. So someone's actually asking about, the impact of the current situation, the COVID-19, asking what are you doing towards workforce management so that you don't shut down during the crisis. Can you touch on that maybe briefly? Obviously, I know there's a wide spectrum of activities that can be done to go about it, but perhaps your most important one that you have at Thailand.
Yeah, sure. So from our perspective, mainly as a refinery, right? What will give us edges in order to survive in this situation would be the flexibility in order to go with to address the needs in the time, and also to be flexible enough for us to find a way to keep the business running. So I'm pretty sure that you guys are familiar with a turn down and everything, but I think there's some kind of unique and flexibilities that we think we can deliver in terms of the efficiency, the cost management, and also the network that we can pull in order to survive in this tough time. So I guess it's a little bit of mix of everything. So yeah, I guess you have to work with us. Then we'll definitely share that with you guys in more details. But I guess that's the question. Sorry, the answer that I can give you right now.
No, that's great. I appreciate it. I wish I could ask all the questions that are coming in. I mean, great questions around biomass based fuel, mobility, cloud solutions, and et cetera. But in the interest of time, I want to thank you for presenting today. And again, as we receive inbound questions in future, we'll facilitate the introductions to you so you can directly coordinate with them. Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you so much.
So, all right. Thank you everyone for submitting your questions. Next up, we have Chokorn from PTT, one of the largest conglomerates in Thailand.
Hello everyone. Very nice to meet you all. I'm Chokorn from PTT. And today I'm going to give you a brief introduction about PTT. So basically, PTT is the national oil company of Thailand, which means that PTT is half state-owned and half public company. And as a representation of national champions of petroleum and gas, PTT have duty to guarantee the energy security of Thailand. And right now, while the world is shifting to cleaner and greener energy, PTT also is adapting toward future energies. And as public company, PTT tries to create new S-curve business to drive revenue by exploring non-energy fronts. And that's where my team, Expresso, which stands for Express Solution, jump into the picture. And now let us take a look at PET and PTT Group by the numbers. Last year, the overall revenue of PTT Groups, including 5 other flagship companies, is around 2 trillion Thai baht, or roughly 70 billion US dollar, reflecting around 14% of Thailand GDP. And while in terms of size, PTT Group representing around 15% of the stock exchange of Thailand. And right now, we are still the only Thai company that is listed in Fortune 500. And while in terms of sustainability, PTT and our flagship company is a member of the GSI, or the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, has been for many years, and also the Global Compact leads, similar to other well-known companies like L'Oreal, BASF, or Daimler. The reason why we're able to accomplish this number is because PTT does not look or only focus in Thailand. We also venture across the hemisphere to more than 25 countries around the world, seeking for business opportunities. But back here in Southeast Asia, which is the future driver of future economies and home to 650 million people around the world, is where PTT has a very strong footprint in terms of energies and other related business. And even now, we are still seeking opportunity to explore the new frontier even more. And let us expand PTT business even deeper. As PTT is the largest conglomerate in Thailand, we have a complete value chain of petroleums here. And here is an example of our major business. Our upstream business cover all type of feedstock, including oil and gas and coal. In infrastructure and midstream, we own 100% of gas pipeline network in Thailand, expanding over 4,000 kilometers. And our flagship company in power generations. Right now, they are the top 3 electricity generator in Thailand. Moving forward to downstream, our group of flagship company is the largest refineries and petrochemical complex in Thailand, consisting more than 60% of Thailand refineries capacities. And on the retail side, PTT has the largest market share of gas stations in Thailand, with more than 1,500 stations across the countries. And with this strong business foundations, PTT is now focusing on new innovations and business of the future, exploring cutting-edge technology and best-of-the-breed partner to help drive business together. And that's the role of PTT Expresso, to see the option and shape the future of PTT. Within the team of 20 people, we have 3 major functions to drive PTT Group Innovation Society. First, we do venture buildings, where we seek new S-curve business and co-innovate with partners to create new benefit together. Secondly, we invest in startup, VC funds, and partner with accelerator program around the globe. And last, we seek forefront technology to help improve current PTT business or create revenue together. And here is the example of the new S-curve business that PTT and partners is developing together. PTT worked with Energy Web Foundations, which was founded by the global think tank Rocky Mountain Institute and the blockchain developer Grid Singularity to create what we call renewable certificate platform in Thailand. And this renewable certificate will encourage renewable energy investment in Thailand and drive the entire nation to cleaner energies. Another example is that PTT has been developing smart energy platform, also utilizing blockchain technology to enable electricity transaction between C&I building, reducing burden on electricity bill and optimizing the overall renewable energy usage. For corporate innovations, PTT Expresso strives to all territories that we can find the state-of-the-art technology and bring that back to Southeast Asia. So far, we invest 2 companies in Thailand, which is HG Robotics, the drone company, and Barnia, a property technology company. In terms of funds, we invest in 7 funds globally, with their focus on ranging from early stage company to more mature company. So far, we invest in 4 funds in US, 2 funds in Europe, and 1 in Japan. And PTT is also the founding member of InnoSpace, which is the vehicle that supports and drives Thailand economy using deep technologies. And we also working together with accelerators, such as elemental accelerators, that focus on sustainability. And of course, we're proud to be the anchor partner of Plug and Play Thailand, the largest accelerator platform in the world. And with all these channels, we receive thousands of deals sold and have the opportunity to partner with top tier companies like you guys. Our team had investment budget around 20 to 30 million US dollar annually, with check size ranging from 5 to 10 million US dollar. What we're looking for is the company in Series A onwards with tractions, focusing on frontier technology that could be enabler of future energies. And a part of that, we're also looking for opportunity to diversify our portfolio into entire new fronts, including life science, advanced material, and other industry business that has prospect to become one of PTT flagship company in futures. And for the quick win scenarios, we also open and glad to have a partnership opportunity to work along with top tier companies like you guys. We receive numbers of partnership opportunity, but after shortlisted, we hope to do at least 2 to 4 partnership projects a year. And we are open to venture building entirely new business like smart city, smart mobilities by helping localizing your technologies and co-innovating new products together. We also seek to improve PTT business performance and efficiencies, such include technology that advance current efficiency of solar and wind power, battery manufacturing technology, as well as battery applications. And lastly, we pursue the sustainability pathway, such as carbon conversion technology and other types of waste management as well. And that's all for the introductions. If you'd like to learn more on opportunity for expanding business, co-innovations, and fundraising, please feel free to contact us anytime. Thank you.
Fantastic, Chokwan. Thank you so much for that presentation. How are you doing today?
Good. So far, so good.
Great. And you're calling in from Bangkok, Thailand today?
Yep, that's right. Here in Bangkok.
You know, I'm struck by the presence of PTT not only in the energy industry value chain globally, from upstream to midstream and downstream, but how it's kind of span across other sectors that are adjacent, from auto industry to new materials, life science. You mentioned smart mobility, so it's really interesting, and we've gotten a few questions already coming in as it relates to some focus areas that you have, the processes to engage with the startups, doing proof of concepts and pilots in Thailand. So I want to start with well, get a little bit more generic one that's here, that's asking about, given that you have a wide range of businesses and industry focus areas, how do you deploy capital, or how do you define your capital deployment roadmap in the next in the near future?
So right now there are quite a few that we are focusing. Of course, our core business is still that we have to keep it as running as it is, and also improve its efficiency as well. But mainly, I have to say that PTT is exploring mainly on the renewable side, that to diversify our portfolio. That right now is our majority source of revenue is still come from petroleum-based product, but we want to change that and adapt that to more on the renewable energy as well. So I have to say the capital roadmap in the future will be mainly to explore the renewable energy, as well as some of the applications that related to RE as well.
Got it. No, definitely that's common across many of our energy partners that are diversifying their assets from fossil fuel. Interesting to hear that from you. Another question is regarding proof of concepts and the projects that you do to validate the solutions. Someone's asking, do the startups have to move to Thailand in order to do the pilots and POCs, or are they done remotely or in other locations?
No, you don't have to move to Thailand. That's totally depend on you and your products. I have to say like that. If you are like a service or a software company, we can totally do remotely by using a conference calls like this. That's very common for us as well. But if you were doing hardware, like and you want to deploy here in Thailand, maybe it is best that you can visit us once a while to give us the POC first. But then after the POC is done or the cloud is done, and we have the ability to work by our own together, then we can work remotely as well. That's totally depend on your business model. We are quite flexible on that part.
Got it. No, that's helpful to know. And I would have asked a lot of follow-up questions on that POC part, only if we had more time. But you mentioned in your presentation that PTT has participated in 7 different funds. And obviously that's a great strategy, but knowing that you also make direct investments, someone's asking about a typical check size of investments. Like, you have like an average check size that you have in your plan, or is it something that you have already defined, or is it variable?
Yeah, it's variable, but it depends on your stage of the company as well. But usually we want to be quite a sizable investor in the company, but we don't want to control the company. So our check size ideally is around $3 to $5 million US, but that's depend on the state of your company as well. Like in Thailand, we only invest much lower than that.
Mm-hmm. Got it. No, thank you. Again, a few other questions that are rolling in are regarding how do you take care of your critical infrastructure as it relates to cybersecurity companies that you get in touch with. Someone's asking about how do you make your business resilient and recession proof, and questions around biomass again. So I want to perhaps take one of these questions, given the time is limited and this will be our last question. Maybe just broadly speaking, what are some of the technologies that you're looking to bring to your business to make it recession proof in future? Recession
proof, right?
Yeah.
Well, one thing definitely that we want to diversify our portfolio from petroleum based to other things. That should really help us on the downside from the oil price, as is our current situation right now. So if we enter more on the power market, that would be help us more resilient on the global economic downturn as well.
Got it. Which kind of ties back to the question that was brought up earlier regarding your diversification strategy. Chocolate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. And again, we will, if we see any interest in startups to connect with you, with any of the focus areas you have, we'll connect you with them later.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, happy to meet you all too.
Fantastic. Okay, next up, our partner is dialing in from Copenhagen, and Frederick Talk, representing Maersk Drilling Innovation Roadmap. It's been a great few months working with Maersk Drilling. So here we go with the presentation.
Thanks for joining me here today, everybody, to listen into what we do on innovation at Maersk Drilling and how we build our ecosystems together with external partners, especially startups. My name is Frederick Tuck. I'm the head of innovation scouting, based in Copenhagen in Denmark, which is our head office. There are really exciting times we're living in, especially when you are in the oil and gas industry. But we've been around for more than 50 years as a company, so we are used to both ups and downs, and keep focusing on innovation is really important for us. Let me start taking you through the value chain of the oil and gas industry very briefly to position ourselves and see what we're doing. So Maersk Drilling is providing offshore drilling services to oil companies. And how it works is that once the oil and gas company has got a concession right, they bring in seismic research services to see where there potentially is oil. And then we come in with our rigs to drill the wells that's needed. It could be both in exploration and in the development phase. And once oil has been found and the number of wells that should be drilled has been drilled, the rigs goes on to the next assignment, and the oil companies come in with the production equipment and excavate the oil. The challenges we have in this setting is that, of course, we are operating very far offshore, which can pose extra limitations on transferring data from the rigs to onshore. and also covering the rig itself with Wi-Fi is not something that is easily available. So that can also put a limitation on the solutions that we can adopt offshore. We do have 23 drilling rigs, which are one of the youngest and most modern fleets in the world. 4 drill ships, 4 semis, and 15 jackups. And they can operate at very deep waters and drill wells. Actually, one of the drill ships we own has drilled the deepest well in the world ever, as you can see on the data down here. But to take you back to what we do in innovation and why we have increased our focus on innovation the last couple of years is that 3 years ago we started an initiative internally. We were 10 guys who wanted to look into see what we could do with new technology and how we can utilize that to drive the development of the efficiency and the growth of the company. So we moved away from our head office, and across the street we found an old villa where we moved in and started to try out stuff together with startups. It could be anything from AR, VR, machine learning, and other things that we thought was interesting and applicable for our industry. This resulted in an approach that was really making things in a different way, where we had anything from we put up sprint teams, we had stand-up pitches where people could come in and pitch for 3 minutes. We had an environment where it was okay to fail because otherwise you didn't dare to try. We brought in students from a university to do hackathons on our rigs. We brought out the ideas to the front line. We tested a lot of different technologies to see how this could actually be helping us as a company to grow and develop. And this resulted in really interesting approaches where the villa was then the first starting point, which then evaluated into the management team establishing a innovation department with more resources, more focus on a portfolio, more focused on the approach, the structure, the processes. And then the next step now is to actually becoming more of a strategic initiative in Maersk Drilling, where we then work even more with external parties to develop the company for the future and grow it. And the management team has tasked us to say that innovation's purpose is set out then by the executive leadership team is to drive long-term growth for Maersk Drilling through new business models, services, and digital transformation. We do that through 4 focus areas. The first one is to leading the growth projects. That is the innovation projects that's going to help us to grow new markets, new business, new services that we can provide to the market. The second one is to embed the innovation muscle, where we then involve more people from the company to become innovation ambassadors and understand and learn how to work in a more innovative way. The third pillar is to working with leading the future, where we look ahead really far in the future and see where we're going to develop as a company. And the fourth one is then building ecosystems, which is the one I'm heading up. If you double click on that one, you see that we do work already with a lot of startups today, both through Plug and Play and also through Station Houston. But we also work with them directly, where we have found startups through other sources. And we also work with universities, corporate innovation labs. And the reason we do this is that we're firm believers that if we use the powers of and minds of many, we can actually reach better results than if we try to do this only ourselves internally. And it's also a way of for us to bring in cutting edge solutions and technologies that startups are working with, that we don't have an insight to. And also the speed of the process will dramatically increase, we think, by having startups involved with this. To give you a flavor for what we are focusing on right now, as I mentioned before, we're focusing on the growth of the company, Horizon 2 projects. There are 4 areas where we are focusing on right now. One is efficiency, where we're looking to remove waste from the process, the whole drilling process, and also the cooperation between different suppliers within the oil industry. The second one is to decrease the running costs to create lower cost for the operator when they excavate in the oil. The third one is to increase the efficiency and consistency. And the fourth one is sustainability, where we're looking into anything from reducing CO2 and NOx to fuel efficiency and other things. I'm working together with Damon Flores, who's my partner in crime, based in Houston, Texas. You're welcome to reach out to us if you feel that you want to discuss further what we are doing. And I'll be happy to take some questions.
Fantastic, Fredrik. Thank you so much. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm very well, thanks. Heading up the situation here in Copenhagen.
Great. So we always admire how you track and monitor the engagement with the startups very effectively. And some of the entrepreneurs today are really keen to learn more about the uniqueness of Maersk Drilling being an offshore company. And, some folks are asking about your presence globally in Africa and other places. But I guess one of the questions that's being kind of ranked highly is regarding your experience with the AR, VR pilot projects that you've done to bring to Maersk Drilling. So someone's asking if you could elaborate on what you learned from those projects and how you see it in Maersk Drilling in the future.
Sure, yeah, I can. And just a brief question on we do operate across the world, and so the question on Africa, we are currently in Nigeria and Ghana. We've been in Cameroon and other countries there as well. So we do have a big presence in throughout Africa. The AR/VR was one of the earliest projects we did, and was actually together with a startup that brought in this experience for us, where we built a solution on how we could do inspections on the rigs based on Microsoft HoloLens. Was really interesting because it wasn't really fit for purpose because it's not explosive approved, but we started to look into different ways of applying it in other areas just to get the experience there. And once we brought it out, it was interesting to see how we were met with resistance from the people offshore because they didn't like it. But as they tried it out, it was instantly actually applied by them, and they really loved it afterwards. So it's actually operational on a couple of our rigs right now, and something we're looking into how we can develop as well further.
Terrific, Fredrik. Thank you for elaborating. And there are questions regarding the core of your business, drilling. Someone's asking if sensors, if sensors is an area that you're looking for efficient drilling. Maybe
correct. Yeah, we do on our rigs. We do have a lot of sensors today. One of the most modern ones we have up to 80,000 sensors measuring a lot of data continuously. We are in a challenging in the oil and gas industry is that we don't share data. Not that we don't want to, but a lot of customers doesn't want to share the data. So a lot of the stuff that's happening downhole under the water surface is unknown to us in a sense that we can't get hold of the data. Might change there with the changes in the oil industry, and everybody wants to be more efficient. So that might change, but definitely sensors is a big thing for us.
Terrific. And one final question, again, in the interest of time, regarding the connectivity on the rigs. I know this is something that Maersk perhaps has to deal with a bit more than the other stakeholders in oil and gas. So are there instances where there's no connectivity, or do rigs have at least some connectivity at all?
Yeah, on the rig itself, there is connectivity, but it's limited to some spaces. So we don't have a Wi-Fi coverage, for instance, of all these spaces on the rig, because it's too big and too wide to cover it. So that limits some of the solutions where I met really interesting startups that we can't get it to work out there. The other challenge is, of course, this is our factories basically, and they're based 2-hour helicopter flights out in the middle of nowhere in the sea. Depending on the area, there can be like in the North Sea, Norway, there is like full 4G coverage and Wi-Fi lands out to the rigs. That's not a problem. When we operate in other areas, there might be a VSAT connection, which is very expensive and limited. So that limits the number of data we can transfer to onshore. So that also needs to be solutions that can work on the rig without being connected to onshore.
Got it. Fabulous. No, Fredrik, I know that you personally spent a good amount of time on the rig yourself, and I know the entrepreneurs are in good hands if they want to tap into that sector. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll have
Thanks,
to move on, but we'll keep in touch.
Thanks, Wade.
Fantastic. All right. Well, next up we have Taku, who's dialing in from San Francisco Bay Area, but he's representing one of the largest gas and electric utilities of Japan, Tokyo Gas.
Hi, I'm Taku from Tokyo Gas /Jakarta Innovation. At first, I'd like to say thank you to Plug and Play for giving me this opportunity. So let me introduce Tokyo Gas today. So Tokyo Gas is the largest gas utility in Japan. Our basic business is similar to other gas utilities. We procure natural gas as LNG from US and other countries. And we manufacture city gas from LNG and supply to our residential and business customers via our pipelines. Also, we generate electricity by our own power plant for our customers, but our business is not only providing energy. Actually, energy market in Japan has been so competitive since the market is fully deregulated. For example, we provide energy services to our business customers. We own assets such as cogeneration system or heat pump at our customer site and operate and give maintenances on behalf of them. So it's kind of like an escort type of business. For residential customers, we provide variety of services to enhance our customer engagement, such as audiobook service during bath time, and child care service and home troubleshooting service. So these are our key figures. Tokyo Gas was established in 1885, so it's really old company. We have huge history. And our main market is around Tokyo with 12 million gas customers and 2 million electricity customers. Since energy, both electricity and gas retail market got deregulated a couple of years ago, since then we have acquired electricity customers. So right now we have 2.3 million electricity retail customers. So in 3 or 5 years, we have acquired this many customers. Even though Japan's population might decrease over time, but Tokyo's population will keep increasing. So I can say we are in a good market. It also means other competitors try to come to our market, so we are still in tough situation though. We also have expanded our business out of Japan. For example, in the US, we have energy service business in South Carolina, and in Pennsylvania, we own power plant. But mainly we focus on our Southeast Asia, providing engineering service and ESCO type of services. So let me talk about our focus area. We are particularly interested in these 4 areas: deregulation, decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization, is so-called 4D. As I explained, under competitive circumstances, just providing energy is not good enough to survive. So in deregulation area, we need to enhance stickiness in our customer relation. So we need to add to our current services relating to these sectors. So customer engagement, smart home, smart city, transportation, healthcare is a key sector for us. And last year, we announced new midterm managerial vision in which we declare to aim to be a carbon neutral utility. So decarbonization is a huge theme for us. Even though we have strong internal R&D team, it's impossible to achieve this goal by ourselves. So we are looking for new solution technology in especially hydrogen, CCUS, cleaner use of methane, and renewable energies. And about decentralization, we don't have much wildfire like California, but still we have some disasters such as earthquake and typhoon. So to enhance resilience, we need to decentralize our system. So we are interested in DERMS, microgrid, VPP, peer-to-peer transaction, battery, and EV. Lastly, digitalization. Debt-driven business is also important for utility, especially in the regulated market. Also, in aging society, work efficiency is becoming more and more important, and better to utilize AI and machine learning. So currently, we pay hugely attention to these new technologies in business. Let me explain about our open innovation structure. As I mentioned, we have strong internal R&D function, but we also look for technology and business model in Silicon Valley too. So in 2018, we launched Career Innovation at Menlo Park. We scout new technology and business model. We work with and invest in startups who can be our good and strong partner. Including Plug and Play, we are partnering with some venture capital and accelerator and incubator. These are our current portfolio companies. You can see the US companies on the left and Japanese companies on the right. So these are battery, EV, peer-to-peer transaction, renewable related companies. So hopefully we accelerate our activity and put more names on this list. So these are our contact info. So please contact us if you think we have a good synergy. We have booth in the Plug and Play. So after shelter in place, please stop by our booth. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you, Taco. Yes, you do have a booth at Plug and Play, and we look forward to seeing you afterwards. I enjoyed your kind of market analysis and how the new regulations have made Tokyo Gas to take a new approach and have a competitive edge over some of the other energy providers in Japan. So as we're getting kind of questions coming in, you know, you mentioned that you have invested in a couple of other venture funds and you're working closely with investors. So question that has come up here is regarding, so not all the entrepreneurs have worked with the Japanese company. So the question that comes in here is regarding the approval processes. So someone's asking if you could explain more about how the approval processes look like if a startup is being considered for investments.
Yeah, we are in the Bay Area, so our mission is technology startup scout. So the approved and the startup and the technology approved will be handled by the Tokyo side in the last. And then we're gonna bring the solution and then suggest like a startup and technology to the Tokyo side. I mean the business unit, for example, if it's a AR or VR for the LNG terminal, they have to test on their site, and then if the product is good, like then we can go forward.
Got it. No, that's helpful. And then in fact, there is another question along the same lines asking about the investment committee and how is that different than the pilot approval committee. So you're saying that the Japanese colleagues need to give the approval eventually, but is that the same when it comes to doing the pilots? And do the startups have to do a pilot first before receiving the fund?
It's kind of different between investment and the pilot. It's a completely different thing. So, for example, when we invested some companies, we didn't do pilots because some business are kind of not our core business right now, and then we don't have the place to deploy the technology right now. So kind of we bet in the future, but for the pilot, like we are looking for something we can use right away. So we want to choose like better than other solution. So in that case, we have to test at our site. So the pilot and the investment is kind of different.
That makes sense. And then one last final question. This is regarding some of your focus areas. Someone's asking about, how much smart grid and effective asset management and AI driven for energy and distribution are impacting your business model today.
Yeah, currently, like we own like a microgrid-ish of the business right now. And then this is just an example, but the cogeneration system or gas heat pump, gas engine are the main resource for the energy. But if we, Tokyo Gas announced like a Compass 2030 is a new vision for the Tokyo Gas, and we're gonna aim for the carbon net zero utility. And in the microgrid or in our new grid, we have to have more like a solar panel or battery, something we have not on yet. So better to have like a, the smart management system. Otherwise, we cannot provide energy stably to our customers. So it's gonna have a huge impact to not to have that kind of, smart system for Tokyo Gas.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thanks for expanding on that. And I know, in Japan market is unique in that a lot of these AI-driven solutions are more impactful. But anyways, thank you so much, Taku. It was great talking to you, and look forward to connecting with you soon again.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, our next partner is actually dialing in from Dallas, Texas, representing one of the larger construction, engineering, and procurement companies in the oil and gas industry and the broader mineral resources. We have Roy Brown representing Worley.
Welcome and good morning. My name is Roy Brown, and I'm the Director of Emerging Technology and New Ventures. And today I'll be presenting an overview of Worley, our capabilities, and how we engage with the startup and venture community. So a little bit about Worley. Worley is an engineering services company focused on the energy, chemicals, and resources industries. We have almost 60,000 employees in over 50 countries. We're focused on the delivery and execution of major projects, but we also embrace the digital revolution that is driving the technology and adoption around the energy transition. So about a year ago to the day, Worley Parsons and Jacobs ECR merged together to form what is present-day Worley, which is a leading global provider of professional project and asset services around the energy, chemicals, and resources sectors. So looking at the geography, our global footprint, again, as stated, we're in over 50 countries, almost 60,000 employees now. That spans a very dispersed geographic presence. So if you look at our lines of business and our structure, the markets that we play in, upstream and midstream, power and new energy is in our energy division. In our chemicals division is downstream and chemicals. And then when you look at our resources division, that's the mining, minerals, and metals infrastructure. And those are divided up into our lines of business, but also with support from our major projects and our integrated solutions, as well as our Advisian consulting division, which works across all of our lines of business. So how do we engage with the startup and the venture community? Well, from our emerging technology and ventures department, we will review about 350 different technologies per year. Those are globally sourced. We will from then go to really try to push for at a minimum 3 to 5 pilot programs, looking at proof of concept, proof of value. And then from that, we'll look to do 2 to 3 deals, whether that be an investment or a partnership. And these numbers will vary from year to year. Sometimes they're a lot more, especially on the deal flow side and the piloting side. And, these are almost what we label as, the minimum that we want to do each year. So where does the demand or the need or the interest come from? And it's 2 different parts. One comes from internally. How can we do things better? we have a specific demand or a challenge, and also some of the things that we, that we view as potentially disruptive or could create a new line of business. So we'll lean forward in those as well. But there's three main points that we really go through and check when we look at technology. And number one is, finding that advocate, that internal advocate and support. They have to see the vision, the opportunity, and looking at the technology and how it's applicable to our business. And then number two, we'll run a pilot program. Some of those will run from a few weeks to maybe even longer to a couple of months. We really want to understand how the technology works, how it performs, does it perform as stated, and the application and utilization internally to Worley, and that proof of concept and the proof of value. And then the third aspect is that's where we transition based on the first two principles. What is the long-term relationship? Is that a partnership? Is that an equity investment? And how do we bring that value back to the startup and helping them scale the technology and create a robust business model? So when you look at specifically some of the technologies that are interesting to us, it's sometimes easier for us to tell you the things that we're not interested in. But here's just kind of a snapshot of technology that either we've looked at or maybe even made a specific investment in, or some of the technologies that are high on our priority list that we are engaging in. And that's, from industrial Internet of Things, sensor tech, to big data analytics. Safety technology is a big pursuit of ours, making sure that the workforce is safe out in the field and some of the environments that we operate in. Energy transition is a real high priority on our list. That ranges from decarbonization to recyclables to waste heat technology plays. Robotics and drones, whether that be from the gathering of information via imagery or optics, to utilizing robotics to perform different ways of doing business that otherwise were manually done today. Artificial intelligence, how can we gain more insight into something that currently exists via data or sensor tech, edge computing, etc. Wearable technology, there's been an increase in interest around this, and how do we utilize that and make us better. And automation, engineering has been on a journey over the past few years, and maybe taking some of those manual processes that we have in place and automating those. So just a quick example that I'll quickly go through, digital mine of the future. This is out of our Triple M division. And if you look at this from a high level and a holistic standpoint, you can see where the connectivity points are with technology, and it ranges from, the person, whether they are remote, they're looking at, something from an AR, VR standpoint, to, the assets and that are in the field, and they're operating autonomously and they're fully connected, to the collection and the mechanization of technology, and are we able to pull information off of the mechanical equipment to have more insight into that. And then procurement and delivery, do you have real-time information that's coming in and telling you where things need to go and what time that they will arrive, and we're putting it out on a platform where people can buy, sell, and trade assets. So in summary, Worley, really all about, the changing face of the future of energy in the chemicals and the resources sector. We believe that the future does look different. And a big part of that is digital technologies and how they will change the way we do business and our workforce and our focus and the way that we deliver products, services, and technologies to our customers. That's a wrap up. I appreciate your time, and thank you for the engagement.
Terrific, Roy. That was a great overview of your activities at Worley Digital Innovation. How are you doing today?
Good. Good morning, Wade, and appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. And you always do a pretty good job in finding internal advocates at Worley. We're pretty happy to work with you and help out in that end of the spectrum. And you mentioned also about running pilot programs with the startups in your presentations, and having a consideration for a potential long-term relationship. So thank you for providing that overview. I think a couple of questions that are prepared here are not around like really where the rubber meets the road, like some of the startups who are asking about fundraising and some who are keen to learn a little bit about the pilot to scale up and how it looks at Worley. But perhaps before we get to that, something that's regarding like, your ability to share data. The question here is Worley open to allowing founders to publicly share successful pilot case studies? And if a pilot isn't the right next step, would you and business units be willing to share constructive feedback?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's that's a win-win for both parties. I mean, obviously, as part of our strategy is we want to run those pilot programs to understand how the technology works, and its applicability to Worley, and then how, what's the value proposition, not only for the startup, but for us as well. How can we help them and scale their technology? But as far as, running a pilot and being an advocate of the technology and sharing in the lessons learned, definitely, that's something we would embrace.
Got it. Another question that's highly ranked here is regarding your intent in searching for. The question actually here is: are you searching for all-in-one solutions for total asset management, controls, KPIs, and sensor data fusion?
Yeah, obviously a lot of things have changed, over the past few weeks and month. But the simple answer is yes. A lot of those specific pursuits, such as data fusion and data analytics, that's driven by some of our base business. So when those requests come in and we have a portfolio over here of technologies that we can reference and bring along in that journey, then we quickly introduce those and then go down the path of, how do we filter out the best ones, and then quickly get to that pilot program.
Terrific. A question that applies to many entrepreneurs today is from Henry, who's asking, what do startups typically need to provide to someone like you to enable you for the pilots and POCs?
Yeah, all of them kind of depend, but it's really, at a minimum, when we work with startups, they need to have that MVP, that minimal viable product, because in reality, we are the classic strategic. So we want to make sure that the technology works and performs as stated, and then how can we help them grow the business and scale and get into our global footprint and our markets. Yeah.
No, you're right. I think it's case by case, and I think that was a good answer. So I know we're short in time. Someone's asking about hydrogen technologies and how you engage with them. But perhaps for the interest of time, we'll stop here and we'll facilitate introductions afterwards to advance the conversations on those ends.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Thanks, Wade, and thank everyone at Plug and Play.
Thank you, Roy. Okay, well, next up, our partner is dialing in from Bogota, Colombia. We have Alexis Ocampo, who is leading strategy of digital innovation at one of the larger oil and gas companies in Colombia, Ecopetrol. Hello, Alexis.
Hi, Wade. How are you? How's it going?
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Take it away from here. We have a few minutes for a very high-level overview of your company, and we'll take the Q&A after.
Okay, so let us start. Can we go next, please? Okay, so first of all, I am the Digital Strategy Manager at Ecopetrol, which is the largest company in Colombia and also It is one of the 40th largest oil and gas companies in the world and the 4th in Latin America. So we are an integrated oil and gas company. Basically, we generate more than 60% of domestic production. And we start from exploration and we end up before retailing. So we don't have retailers. So we do everything. So upstream, midstream, downstream. We actually also have operations in Brazil, in Peru, and the United States, in the Gulf of Mexico, where we also do some small production, but also exploration. And we have 2 refineries in Colombia, and we own the largest one, and also most of the country's oil and pipeline network, which is significantly increasing in the biofuel sector. So our company is more or less comprised of 13,000 people, and last year we had a revenue of around $20 million. So please, next. So let us talk a bit about the digital strategy. So the way we are supporting our company is based on 4 pillars, from left to right. We are doing a lot on cybersecurity, and we are changing more or less all of our cybersecurity approach and our services and infrastructure. We are also changing a lot our digital infrastructure for operations so that it is more available, secure, and reliable. And on the right hand, then we have what we consider our capex or investments. Right now, we have an investment of around $120 million for what we call the digital agenda, which is comprised of 10 projects that provide a lot of insights and support a lot of the businesses. And we expect to have $1 billion in EBITDA by 2023 in benefits. And also, we are working a lot, and now even more in the crisis, in the COVID-19 crisis, on supporting those small projects that are really important, that give us a lot of, let's say, speed at the efficiencies and operational level. And so we hope to provide the company 1 million man hours and an NPV of $15 million by 2023. And this is by automating with robots, by digitalizing other formats, controls, and so on. Please, next. So at a glance, this is more or less the way we support with our digital capabilities the business goals on the whole integrated value chain. And maybe just to cope here with some important messages. So we are completely aligned to the business goals, and we have declared 7 digital capabilities that are giving us the innovation, right? So these 7 digital capabilities are the basis for the innovation in each one of those segments. So you could see that in the upstream, we are more towards big data, elastic computing on the cloud, artificial intelligence. So where we have better information on the subsurface, and we can take better decisions. While in the downstream and in the midstream, we are more going towards blockchain, so having a unique source of truth for the oil and gas volumes and balances. And in the corporate functions, we are going more forwards robotics and also some sort of descriptive analytics, but also looking for enhancing the processes on those functions. Next, please. So what is new for us this year? This year, we are more going towards energy transition, decarbonification. These are new topics for us. We are starting to study how to measure top-down and bottom-up fugitive emissions. We are also looking at the YNC, non-conventionals. In Colombia, we haven't started this business properly since there are some regulations that are stopping us to do it. But in the States, we have a subsidiary where we are doing this, and starting to work with some companies in that field. But we, from the digital point of view, need to understand better what that means. How can we innovate in those fields? As well as in energy optimization. Energy optimization is also related to energy transition. So how can we use more our energy, auto-consume more in our assets? And also we are working with new, very difficult subsurfaces in Colombia, You know, Colombia is a tough geology, so we are starting to work with exploration on an understanding better near field exploration. Can you go next, please? So this is basically the 7 digital capabilities that we are at the moment empowering with innovation, elastic computation, so that we can have a demand that goes up and down, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, analytics, robotics, big data, and blockchain. And we are having already projects that are deploying these capabilities and that are producing revenues and are helping us supporting the business. Can you go next, please? So our operational model with respect to innovation, basically all of those capabilities support our challenges, strengths, and ideas. On the left side, we have this funnel where we capture those ideas. Maybe you see it in Spanish, but this year we have launched something that is called 100 times 100 challenge, where we are finding 100 problems in those fields that I mentioned before, that are supported with digital capabilities that are small. This is why we have the S and XS sizes. So we are aiming at very small projects that help us a lot in the current COVID situation, but that help the business and help us to go forward in innovation. So we launched that in Colombia, and we are searching for 100 startups that in Colombia help us and outside to support and to give answers to those problems. Next, please. So what is our preference for working with startups? Okay, since we need a lot of speed and agility, and since we're starting this new innovation platform, we want those startups to help us with preferably mature products that are working. We are technology agnostic, let's say, and also products that are ready to deploy in Colombia, and that we could make a really fast track for getting them into pilots. So basically, those are the three main characteristics that we are looking for when thinking of startups that could help us on our business objectives. Next, please. Okay, and that's it. That's a wrap up. So I will be here for any questions. Thank you, Plug and Play, for your invitation and the first time that we are in this forum, and we have this contact with startups all over the world, and we are looking forward to get in touch with you. So I'm open for questions.
Terrific. No, that was really comprehensive, Alexis. Thank you so much for that overview, and I think you covered all the ground with the technology focus areas as it relates to your current business today and some of the new areas that you're looking for. So just a quick reminder, we still have more than 100 people in the audience, and folks that are here are curious to know a little bit more about, you know, how you're going to help the startups to go into the Latin market. Not all of them have worked with you know, corporations in Colombia or the broader LATAM. So maybe one of the questions here is regarding if you could explain or describe the experience of a startup that will work with you on a project.
Okay, so basically what we are doing right now is that we are starting with a great definition of the problem, and having that as a basis, we launch, let's say, that problem definition. We search for. We are actually open to search for answers anywhere in the world. Let us suppose that we find an answer somewhere else. I don't know, in Abu Dhabi or somewhere else, and then what we will do is that we start. We are an international company, so we start having conversation with them, and we start let's say the piloting or the proof of concept. Yeah, so we start having through our procurement department these piloting options, and then once we have performed the pilot, we can have the possibility to see whether that could be industrialized in our company or deployed at a larger scale, considering that went successfully. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And Alexis, I know when you were kind of shaping up your strategy in connecting with the startup community over time, you were able to clearly define your objectives and your investment strategy. But I know today, as I'm checking the price of the oil is $14.2 per barrel. So this is unprecedented times for the oil and gas. So someone's asking a little bit more about your interest in the next 6 months as it relates to
yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, this oil situation has hit us all. What we are discussing right now with the board is, okay, we need projects that are focused on helping us on working remotely, and that is operations that they could be where we could work remotely safer.
Alexis, I think we lost you. Can you say that?
Sorry, I was just sitting outside and a plane went by, sorry. Okay, and the other thing is, okay, operations that help us working remotely. Also, like I mentioned before, cost efficiency. So small projects that give us a lot of speed, digitalizing a small process, digitalizing some formats, applying robotics to a really complicated process that help us with the OpEx and help us optimize the margins. And also we are thinking a lot on those analytic models, that don't need to a larger platform to be installed or configured, but they give us a lot of insights on what to do or how to model or how to simulate the current scenarios. Models for refining. So the demand has dropped. How can we manage with the demand right now on the refining side? How can we develop our fields better with respect to the oil price that has fallen and the demand that has fallen? So we need more analytic models that help us on doing that, and that could be really easy to deploy and fast to deploy.
Got it. Oh, that was really helpful. Thank you. It's apparent that a lot of your resources are constrained and you're being selective in what projects you're taking on. I want to ask a final question before we wrap up, given that we ran a little over time. So Andrea is asking, would you consider a wearable for your workers, allowing log on, position on the field, recommending what safeties are needed according to operations mandatory gears and workforce management with enabled communication across wearable? That was a long question.
Yes, so we are very open to those new technologies. We are very open to using the information in real time for making the best decisions that operators can make. Yeah, so we are open to those as well.
Alexis, thank you so much for your time. We enjoyed learning about your activities and look forward to seeing you as the crisis ends.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so with that, we conclude the session for our corporate reverse pitch today. I want to thank everyone and let you know that there will be a follow-up email with the links to register in our upcoming events. I also want to give a big shout out to our team, Arsh, Kevin, MJ, and more importantly, Junie, who actually helped to facilitate this session. So thank you all for doing this. Some of the upcoming events that I'm super excited about is our webinar on April 30th for oil and gas. We have a high-level keynote speaker and 10 great startups presenting. So be on the lookout for that email. And our cost-saving technologies for industry series, the first one will be actually tomorrow on April 23rd at 8 a.m. Pacific time. It's the applications of augmented reality, virtual reality, computer vision technologies for operations monitoring to increase workforce productivity, safety. The second one is on April 28th, focusing on automation. So we're going to be looking to how can we increase output and reduce process variability and cost and timelines and the downtime with robotics and rapid prototyping. And then the third part of that series is around data. So how can we leverage APIs and machine learning, AI, robotic process automation to make legacy systems more efficient and gather insights from the data. So our team will share a link to our LinkedIn page. There's also a number of activities that we're involved in our plug and play energy practice. So you can follow us on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions that I can answer in more detail, I'm happy to get in touch with you. My email is down here, wade@pmptc.com. Thank you all again. And it was great having you in our session today. And enjoy the rest of the day.